Greetings, race fans, and welcome to Sim Racers Group Formula 4 Racing on Slow Motion Broadcasting. J.R. Gregory here with you on the call. Beside me in the commentary booth, my partner, Ken Miller, tonight's producer, Mike Braun, and I'd also like to welcome our special guest to tonight's broadcast, Jason Kocher. Tonight's round 5 of SRG F4 action continues its Asia Pacific tour as we make the 2.5-hour journey from last week's venue, Sandown, to Winton Motor Raceway. Opened in 1961, Winton is current host to TCR Australia, Trans Am Australia, the Australian Drivers' Championship, the Australian Formula 4 Championship, and many others, as well as past host to Aussie Supercars and Australian F4. Today's configuration, exactly 3 kilometers, 12 corners. Current lap record of 1:14.304 was set by FNQ's John Magro in a Dallara F3 car back in 2008. So, Jason, welcome to the big time, the SMB broadcast booth. And why don't you talk to us a little bit about the SRG Sim Racing Leagues and your vision for the future of the organization going forward?
Yeah, guys, great. Thanks for having me. I thought we got 2 drop weeks during the season, and I'm always in-house, so I thought I'd just have some fun tonight and catch up with you guys. Yeah, the future looks bright at SRG. Ton of cars in the F4 field, and when we start running smaller circuits like this, sometimes it gets to be just a little bit too much. So next season, we're going to split. The Inter-Alien and the Inter-1 guys are essentially being graduated against their will, if you'll lend me the term, to F3 next season, and that'll be damage on, just like the officials, and give the Inter-2 guys a chance to run at the front of the field and get some space on track. So yeah, we're growing, we're having fun playing racing games with our friends, and things are good.
All right, Fantastic. And if you're just joining us, Sim Racers Group actually has a brick and mortar facility on the east side of San Jose. And so there is a pack of at least 10 nerds, elbow to elbow, lined up in these sim racing rigs and out here battling, and they're within earshot of each other and elbowing shot of each other. So we've been promised some video of what that looks like, but kind of interesting. Most of these iRacing events obviously are people from all over the world. It's rare to have them in the same room, and we've got at least 10 competitors in this race in the same room down at the facility. And like I said, we're gonna get some video of that so that we can share that with you. Sounds super fun and super interesting. So Kenan, they talk about this F4 series in real life as a transition series between go-karts and the next step up towards F1, which is F3, of course. And it seems like we've been on a couple of go-kart tracks in a row. No offense to these iconic Australian circuits, but pretty tight confines here today. Another kind of dangerous mix of some curbs that you can drive on, some that you need to stay the hell away from. So what are you expecting out of this? Looks like about a 35 car field today.
JR, thank you. I think we're expecting similar to what we looked at last week. The one thing with the Winton racetrack while we're on our Australia tours, the curbing is not as aggressive as it is when we were there a week ago at Sandown. And you're going to see some fast racing, but it's a go-kart track. It's flat. There's not a lot of elevation, albeit it is a very natural course. So there's not a lot of pavement to run off to if you miss a corner. You're going into the grass, you're going into the sand. That's going to make it real troublesome for probably the entire field. I don't think it matters what class you're in for today's race.
All right, and we're watching some practice times and looking at our timing tower right now, and I'm seeing a little bit of an unusual situation on these times. Normally, the field in these events is very closely packed together, and we've got 1 second right now covering only the top 8, and normally that would be about the top 20 cars. And looking at the top 20, they're over a 2 second gap. So this field is going to be spread out a little more than we have seen in the past. And even though it is a very short sprint race, we're definitely going to see some traffic. And who can forget the role that a couple of back markers played last week as holding up Stephen Case there and threatening his what would have been a runaway victory. So traffic is certainly going to play a role here today as well. And it looks like a pretty fun track, actually. And I got to say, kudos to any track. And I'm not making this up, folks. I printed this right off of Wikipedia. So as we know, everything on Wikipedia is 100% true and accurate. But this course, turn 6, the name of the corner, and go ahead and shout it out if you know it. But the name of this corner is Rollover Corner. And that's got to make you feel good when you strap into a race car to go racing, knowing that there's a corner on the circuit that's about being upside down. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to definitely push the limits of everything to this entire track. I do think, I haven't noticed Stephen's Case in the room, so I think we will be pleasantly pleased to announce someone else maybe dominating a race today, especially with the gap we see in lap times. But this is definitely a race that can open up the door in the point standings for our points leader, Stephen Case.
Yeah, for sure. And as we look at our timing tower over there on the left, and if you're just joining us for the first time, our top class is the Alien class. That is designated by the red markers. So you see 1, 2, and 3 locked out in practice currently by that class. The next class is the yellow. So that would be Corwin De Silva and Snyder in 1, 2, 3 right now, based on practice times. And you see Josh Leslie up there in the blue. He is in the Inter 2 class, and he's got a couple of aliens behind him and a couple of Inter 1s behind him. So he is throwing down the gauntlet here today in terms of times. But without Case out there, we may see Poborji kind of drive away with this one. He's got a pretty good gap up front back to Eggert, about 2/10, and another 3/10 back to Mikovits. So, of course, the practice times don't really mean anything in the long run, and we could see some heaters come down in qualifying, as this session is going to last about another 7 minutes, it looks like. But without Stephen Case, we'll certainly have a different dynamic at the pointy end of the field.
Yes, so here we go. We're going to take a lap with Josh Leslie. It's a long straightaway, not as long as some, but it's very fast, and it leads into a very hard left-hander. You're going to carry a lot of speed into the left, all the way to the right. You don't want to miss the apex because of the curbing off to the left. Straight into another hard right-hander. Everything's about getting the apexes here, because as you can see, there is no runoff. A little bit of a wider curve, a nice double apex there. He gets a little loose in the rear end, but he's pulling all that speed to bring it back all the way down left. This is kind of an awkward turning left. Don't really touch the brakes, but you let it lift a little bit, hang it back to the right, into a hard right-hander, one that's very easy to spin out of and get on the brakes too hard. Going to go right into a left-hander, another one where you're just drifting on that throttle. Sand back into the right, just barely drifting. It's so hard to lose control of the car right there. Back, you can finally relax for a minute. Down the straightaway, prepare yourself for another quick left. This is actually a double apex corner. You're going to see he loses the rear end and straightens it back out to carry into basically the final stretch before we get back around to the start-finish line. Here, another double right-hander. You pull it in right. There's your pit entrance to the left. Back down to the apex and onto the front straightaway. That's, other than that one little lose in the rear end, you could do that on just about any corner of this course. That's quite a lap from Joshua Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie looking smooth out there, and I've heard people, not in this group, but I have heard some people badmouth Winton, but it kind of looks like fun to me, and it looks pretty well suited to these F4 cars. They don't have a ton of power, but they do have some downforce and some mechanical grip, and there's some decent, high speed kind of sweepers out here, third and fourth gear corners that really should play to the strengths of these cars. But my goodness, nice walkthrough by Kenan there. And I did notice in that 7, 8, and 9 combo, that is some manic gear shifting. They were slamming back and forth between second and third to get through there. And that is going to be tough. And I imagine that we're going to be seeing cars nose to tail there, not wanting to try any side-by-side action, but couple passing opportunities, couple long straightaways, and potential overtakes into these braking zones. And it also looks like a pretty good place to work on your trail braking and kind of precision. You don't want to overslow these cars. As we said, I think they're putting down about 160 horsepower, so you want to keep that momentum up and avoiding overslowing, driving precisely, and hitting your marks is going to be the key to getting fast laps out of these things here today.
Little insight on Josh Leslie. He's up and coming in Inter 2. He's been in the house practicing. He's go-karting. He's got pace. I've just been trying to coach him on putting a whole race together. He was in a great position in Sandown with 2 laps to go and just lost it there right at pit entry and caught a really unfortunate black flag for crossing the line. But he's going to be on his way to Inter 1 here pretty quick. Proud of the kid, 14 years old, in here showing some of these older guys how to do it.
Oh yeah, and he ought to be moving up. As you see right there, he's got all of the Inter 1s behind him and a couple of aliens as well, and just a couple of ticks off of the provincial podium right now in terms of practice time. So Leslie showing that he knows how to wheel these F4 cars as practice winding down here. Got about 2.5 minutes left here, and wow, my brain just locked up. I'm coming to you folks from the Pacific Northwest. The sun came out today, which made me crawl out from under a rock like a slug and dried myself out a little bit. But we will do our best to keep things moving here. And let's see, Jason, I think you had a couple of stories for us, and I'm kind of curious about kind of set the scene for us right now down at the brick and mortar facility. I presume these guys know each other. They must meet there during the week occasionally to practice. So what kind of camaraderie and kind of chicanery is going on down there right now?
As you said, usually you're in a garage on your own or in a third bedroom or something like that to get sim racing. But when your buddy's sitting right next to you, we've had a laugh about, as you said, within arm's length. And it always seems to be the friends that want to sit next to each other that end up like magnets attracted to each other and banging wheels on track. So it's pretty entertaining. There's a lot that you don't get on the broadcast. Some fish fakes and little like side eye looks and that kind of thing, but it's all in good fun. I mean, Toto Wolff isn't here looking for the next Mercedes F1 driver, and I've been very grateful to have a great group of guys that get it. We're all going to work tomorrow, but it's competitive. It's racing. It's no different than racing in the real world. Your brain tells you you're in it. So like I said, it's never gotten out of hand, but there is some animation that will transpire here and there.
Well, that sounds like an absolute hoot. And I think that our inability to enjoy that with you all could probably be cured with a webcam. So maybe we'll talk about busting one of those out for a future broadcast so that we can see the racing nerds there in San Jose live in action, which I think would be pretty entertaining. And practice winding down now, about 20 seconds remaining. We'll get qualifying underway, and it is an open qualifying, which I'm in favor of. If you watch this show before, you've heard me talk about it before, but I've participated at the real life track, and as I've said before, nobody has ever kicked everybody off the track to let me qualify by myself. So certainly much more realistic to have to deal with traffic, deal with gaps, and deal with slower cars while trying to put down a qualifying lap. I think it's awesome. It's a time qualifier. I think it's about 15 minutes, and that will be getting underway here shortly as they're checkering the practice. And one other thing, if you have not been with us before, damage is off here. So if you've ever played around with these F-4 cars out in the wilds of the iRacing public servers, you know that they can be a little fragile. You know that little bumps on barriers and little wheel banging can result in terminal damage. So these drivers don't have to worry about this. This series is about experience and seat time, and they're not going to let a few missing body panels or broken control arms interrupt their race. So if you see anybody hit the wall and body panels go flying, rest assured that those cars will be repaired quickly and get back underway. And speaking of underway, here we go on qualifying. Taking a look now at Josh Leslie as he tries to get his tires warm. These cars are light and don't have a ton of power, so getting the tires up to temp is probably your first job out here. And let's run through the championship standings real quickly. By the way, we spoke about Stephen Case earlier. He is not out here today, but he's currently sitting in P1, just about 14 points ahead of P2, who's Mikovits. Velasco will round out the podium so far after 4 weeks in P3. And let's look at the inner one now. It's Corwin from our beloved co-broadcaster today, Jason Kotcher, followed by Adrian Lopez, with Cook and Ganesh rounding out the top five. That is your inner one. And inner two, our largest class. Let's take a look. That is Trantham from Bujak from Duval is 1, 2, and 3, followed up by Cardenas, Posada, Conway, Dillon, Grinsky, Brashear, and Hagen is your top 10. And there is the rest of your inner two field, 28 cars. And as Jason said, they're going to be splitting that up a little bit for next season to kind of thin out the field a little bit and give a little bit more racing room on some of these smaller tracks. But as we're going here, Jason, you'd normally be out here and dealing with this traffic, trying to strategize about how to put down a good lap. So why don't you talk us through what is going through the minds of these drivers as they're dealing with the 15 minutes they have to put down a heater?
A lot of these guys are graduating from the rookie Formula Ford series that we also run here at SRG. And so, weather, as you guys have seen with rain, is a factor. Tire management is a factor. Traffic management is a factor. And we're always looking to add people to our endurance team. And so we're just trying to build sort of a difficult set of skill set and tasks to accomplish through this process. So several different strategies to go at it. I usually try to get out of pit lane early and put in a couple of good laps, and then figure out if I can find a little gap for myself, or if you can find someone that's maybe a little bit faster than you that you can try to stick to, especially circuits a little bit longer than this. If you've got some straightaway, if they get by you, you can hope that they drag you up. If they can buy you following them, if they can get you 3 or 4 tenths, that can be several positions on the grid. So a lot of subtle strategy to it. You don't want to catch someone you're slower than. That'll cost you 3 or 4 tenths. And if you can let a faster guy through at a place that doesn't hurt you, there's a lot going on. It's a busy time.
Yeah, for sure. And you see Josh Leslie with the fast opposite lock catching that big slide there. And obviously it looks kind of cool to see those F4 cars drifting, but definitely not the fast way around. And the early times, lap 1 times, are coming around. Adrian Lopez already into the 117 so far. It's Lopez from Eggert from Snyder up top. Leslie's speed continuing. He's sitting in P4 right now, but these lap times will continue to drop throughout the session, very early yet, as the fuel burns off and these tires get warm. So we'll keep an eye on the grid here and see how this unfolds. You see on our map there quite a bit of traffic, and these cars clump together pretty good here. And mentioned it last week, it might be a good situation to have a spotter or have a qualifying buddy to help tow you around, because it's there is a lot of cars out here and it's easy to get jammed up in traffic.
Yeah, the traffic is what makes such a key in this qualifying session. That kind of had me a little shocked watching us as we went around with Joshua Leslie. He had really positioned himself nice on the first out lap, and I'm actually kind of shocked with what he turned with a 1:18.6. I wasn't really expecting that. It seemed like it was a nice smooth lap, but maybe even though he did have a little gap in front of him, it was kind of holding him back from the potential of the car.
Yeah, and probably takes some time too. And Jason, maybe you can provide some insight into that. How many laps at a place like this is it going to take these tires to get up to optimal operating temperature, would you say?
First headed out of, big crash there, Tyler Hagan. When you're first headed out of pit lane and they're stone cold, it's a couple of laps, but you really have to manage that well. If you slide and superheat the tires, it can take another lap for them to cool down. So I'm usually trying to get in 1 or 2 bankers maybe early and just get something on the board, and then try to position myself for a second run halfway through the stint or in that last quarter of the practice session after you got some fuel out of the thing.
Yeah, and some good camera work there by Mike. That's a replay of Hagan walling it there, and as you saw, that car magically reassembled itself, and Hagan back underway now. Taking a look at Adam Duvall as he makes his way around the circuit, and time's dropping a little bit, and there's our aliens starting to pile up at the top of the timing tower. We got Eggert down at a 117.2, and just a couple ticks behind him, Poborji 264, Mikovits a 117.549. So right now it looks like our top 8 qualifiers within 1 second, and we're starting to see what the potential of these cars in qualifying trim are going to be. I'm guessing that we're probably going to sneak into the 116s, depending on traffic and whether you get a draft. And Jason, tell me, do you ever go out with the draft buddy to try to maximize qualifying, or do you keep it solo?
Qualifying, but you know who's in your class, you know who's above your class, and if you cross paths in qualifying, I've run with Stephen Case very well. I ran with Chris Wang for a couple of laps at Fuji in qualifying. It's kind of friends, you help me and I'll help you in qualifying. When the race comes around, there's no more friends.
Yeah, and here's another look at that really tough S section there, where they are rowing through the gears and wearing out that gearbox. Taking a look now at Snyder as he is navigating back onto, where are we now? I'm not super familiar with this course. Yeah, coming onto the pit straight now. You saw that pit entry, and this interesting little high speed left right here, and I kind of wonder if we're going to see the entry to that contested at some point during the race. These races are awful short. Track position so important, and people who don't qualify the way they think they ought to be are pretty aggressive about trying to work their way up the field because they don't have a lot of time to get something done.
Yeah, you really got to be aggressive. I think the aggressiveness right now, you're looking at basically the halfway point into qualifying and setting yourself up to be able to turn maybe 3 more good laps with traffic is what you're looking at getting at this track.
We officiate on a soccer style system: warning, yellow card, red card. And I won't reveal who's on what card, but they are happening. Sandown had some confrontation, and it's always hilarious with race car drivers. Before the green flag drops, everybody can agree to be patient, give room, give space, and the green flag drops and no one remembers the thing that Jason said. So it's always entertaining.
Well, and that just kind of goes to the realism. I mean, I've sat on a real grid behind the pace car, watching the timing, watching the starter stand, waiting for that green flag to wave, and had very similar feelings sitting in my basement on the sim. So it really is immersive. It gets you sucked in, and the red mist and the anxiety and the adrenaline is all real as we see a couple cars coming together here. And you really, gosh, these qualifying laps are a limited resource, and you really need to take care of them. You see somebody getting off in the grass here, that will invalidate that lap. So you got to keep it clean. You got to make everyone count. You got to make sure that you stay between the lines. And actually, the racing in this track is not exclusively between the lines, as you see a couple cars extending that exit there. So part of being fast here at Sandown is learning where the boundaries are, where you can go outside the white lines without getting a 1X. So just one of those nuances of learning this place. And it is still, looks like Eckert from Poborgi from Mikovits up top for the Aliens, and in inner one it's De Silva from Lopez. From Ganesh inner two, it's Dan Swanbeck from Bujak from Jose Navas in 1, 2, and 3. So 3 classes out here running. It is a handful to keep on top of all of it, but we will do our best to cover everybody. And taking a look at Brashear here. And that is one way to deal with that tight S section. If you just don't feel like turning your wheel that far, you can cut through the grass. Oh my goodness. And there is some more kerfuffleage, and I'm telling you, there's going to be some body parts, Kenan, in that part of the track before this one's over.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of cars that are going to lose the rear end. You can see just the nature of the track. It's very flat. It's a high-speed track. They've got a little bit of a rear arrow to these Formula 4 cars, but these Formula 4 cars essentially, in many ways, a predecessor to the original Skip Barber car. This is the perfect training car of understanding mechanical versus aerodynamic grip.
Speaking to that adrenaline, we've got a couple of the drivers in the league wearing heart rate monitors on YouTube feeds, and they're regularly at 115, 120, 125 beats per minute when it really gets high action. So it's cardio. You're moving your arms, you're moving your feet. It's a lot like being on a treadmill. I mean, the brain makes it real, as you said, man. The adrenaline gets going, and you're racing.
Taking a look at Daniel there getting a little antsy. It feels like that car in front is holding him up. Tried the outside move there, ended up getting a little loose, and this lap is blown. He's probably feeling a little bit of frustration right now, hoping that his buddy will get out of his way there, which is finally happening, but it's not going to benefit him now. This lap is a wash. You saw him go wide, completely lose it there. So about 4 minutes remaining, probably 3 or 4 laps, depending on what your track position is when the timer runs out. The way this server is configured, if you have a lap underway when the time hits 0, you'll be allowed to complete that lap. So qualifying probably going to go a little bit over the 15 minutes showing on your screen, but looks pretty stable up top still Eggert from Poborgi from Mikovits. Not a lot of movement up there, although Poborgi certainly within striking distance of Eggert, only 23 hundredths back behind. And see, it looks like Leslie is falling off a little bit there. He's still well ahead, about 4/10 ahead of P2 and inner 2. Pretty tight grouping elsewhere throughout the field, though, as is typical in these F4 races.
I think the top 3, like we talked about, Stephen Case maybe taking advantage of the drop week system for the series. That I think there's a few guys in the inner alien looking at Kalen Mikowicz with a fast time, 1:17.009 as he goes across the line. So 2/10 he found on that lap. That's a fast lap. We'll see whether Chris Eger gets out there, Poborgi goes out there, maybe tries to match something like that, but I think the competition for the top without Stephen Case in the race tonight, everybody's kind of licking their chops and maybe having a chance to get a win.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to know how Mikovits pulled that one off. It had been pretty stable up front. It's possible he caught a draft at the right time, but definitely took a big chunk of time out of Eggert there, and is now 2/10 ahead, and almost brushing the high 116s. I predicted that earlier, so hoping somebody can make me a soothsayer on that one. But we are running out of time here. Most of the cars still out there. I see a couple people have parked. It looks like Snyder's had enough. Swanbeck and Dan Clark are sitting in pit lane right now, satisfied with what they've been able to do so far. But again, it's Mikovits now from Eggert from Poborji up top, then Ganesh from De Silva from Corwin in Inter 1, and in Inter 2 still Leslie with a big lead over Bujak and Igor Gru there. I can see Leslie likely to move up as we see some synchronized spinning there coming onto the straightaway, and not a ton of power in these things, but people are definitely trying to trail brake in some of these corners, and part of that is getting on the throttle at the right time. You get on a little bit too early where those rear tires are already loaded up from trail braking, and you see the result there. They spin like tops.
Phelan's in house here, sitting about 4 feet from me, so I'll throw my hand over his eyes and see how he drives blindfolded. I love the kid. I love to have a joke with him. When he came in, he was asking me for tips, and now you see where he's driving in the field. I'm usually a top 10 guy. I'm asking him for tips now.
Yeah, and the people tend to kind of look at sim racing as an individual or isolating experience, and really it's the more kind of teamwork and camaraderie you have, the better it is. And so cool that you guys have that brick and mortar facility where people can gather around this sport. It really is fantastic, and we can all imagine a future where because of limited resources, limited space, whatever, that this is the only racing that is going to be left. So, oh my goodness, just a bit outside. That's what Kenan was warning you about coming out of that combination on the main straightaway, that fast left, right. If you go a little bit wide right there, you see the result, and that could have been a lot worse than it was. Didn't help his lap time at all, but you see the danger right there. And I imagine in real life that wall has quite a bit of paint on it, Kenan.
Yeah, you can see though he's having to find where Kellen Mikowicz found 2 tenths, and he's testing anything to see where he might be able to carry speed and get through. Maybe he thought holding the pedal down coming out of 2 there would, maybe the car would just stick, but I don't think you're surviving that outside bumper.
We have a laugh sometimes when it gets dangerous about how brave we are in a simulator. You're sideways, you're crossed up, you stay in it over the curbing. In real life, I don't think I would be so brave. So sometimes being in a simulator, the fear isn't the same, and you stick in it even if you think maybe you don't have a shot. But Chris Eggert's got great skill. He can live on the ragged edge out there. He finds a lot of time that way, and I think you saw that timer ticking down. You just had to give it a shot.
Yeah, and that, I got to say, that was one of the attractions about moving from the real track to the simulated track in my household, was less danger and less expense. That's another thing, when you get brave and start breaking stuff, you got to buy new stuff. And no matter how bad you bin it out here, then nobody ever comes to you from the race shop with their hand out looking for more money. So definitely another benefit of the sim racing life. And qualifying winding down now. Looks like we got just a couple cars left, looking at riding along with Velasco here, seeing if he can make something happen. And Velasco way down on the list. That is not where we normally see him, sitting in P22, well adrift of the other aliens, more than a second gap back. And up top it is still Mikowicz from Eggert from Poborji. That is locked in. Ganesh from De Silva from Corwin also locked in, I believe. Yeah, so we're going to have your starting grid in just a moment. And gosh, again, some kind of divergent lap times here. Not what we're normally used to seeing out of this group. Usually the lap times are pretty close, but not on this track. So there is your starting grid, and or there was your starting grid, and there it's back again. Fun stuff here. And Mikowicz will have the pole next to Chris Eggert, and the next row it's Poborji next to Ganesh. In row 3 it's De Silva next to Corwin. Leslie will start in P7 next to Oladipo, and I'm probably saying that wrong. I got kicked around for that last week. I'm sorry? Oladipo. I'm going to get it right from now on. Oladipo. Lopez next to Snyder will be in row 5. Navas next to Brashear in 11 and 12. Igor Gru next to Bujak in 13 and 14. Swanbeck and Cardenas in 15 and 16. Shilja, who also corrected me last week, and I did that one wrong again, next to Cook. Posada next to Dillon. It'll be Lloyd Conway next to Velasco in 21 and 22. Lebivy next to Aaron Von Wagner there in 23 and 24. Duvall next to Meyer. Samudio next to Shreshkumar. Hagen next to Hyde, Glasser next to Dan Clark, Day next to Vase, and it shows Kotcher there in the last row. And I got news for you. I don't think he's going to make the grid, but he is showing up on the timing tower. Also, Paul Merchick, I don't think, is going to be joining us. So as we wait for the timer to tick down, because they are waiting for Kotcher, they're going to want to run that time all the way down here. So it'll take just a moment for iRacing to force that start. And looks like about 20 seconds we'll get underway. I'm sorry, go ahead, Kenny.
Focus on Alex Velasco. I'm not sure what he had wrong in qualifying. Position 22, the lowest starting inner alien on the course. He has a lot of traffic to work through to get to the front, and I think we're definitely going to see some action focusing on him, especially these opening couple laps.
Yeah, potential hard charger for sure, Velasco. Although looking back at practice, I don't think he was really getting much done there either. So Winton not getting along with Velasco. But in any event, we are green. And right away, Eggert gets off the line better than Mikovits. He's going to take the lead into the first corner. It's Eggert from Mikovits, from Ganesh, from Poborji, from Corwin. And immediately these cars very tidy, getting in line. Everybody gets through that first section clean, and we're getting our first lap here underway. These laps are going to go by quickly. However, it is only a 20-minute race, so there's not going to be a lot of them. And look at Mikovits. He can't believe he got smoked off the line. He is all over Eggert, about a 2/10 gap. We'll keep an eye on that. He is going to want to make something happen here quickly. Or will he? Maybe he will just hang with Eggert and let him break the win for him, so to speak, and bide his time and make a move a little bit later on. But again, yeah, it is Eggert from Mikovits, from Ganesh, from Poborji, from Corwin. Josh Leslie has lost one position, but still has a death grip on P1 and inner 2, and a little smooch there, and from Eggert onto Mikovits. Yikes. And, I missed it while I was talking, but Mikovits got that P1 back. See if we can get a replay of that. I was looking over at the timing tower, but not only did he get that position back, he's already gapping him. And look at that gap, Kenan, already a second.
Yeah, Eggert, he went wide coming out of turn 9, and Mikovits was able to get along the right side. I think Chris Eggert decided to think better of it and allowed him to take the position going into turn 10, and he was able to get the lead. But then you see he got in a little too hard, almost took him out going into the corner, but basically slowed him down, allowed third and fourth of Poborji and Ganesh to get right over top of him, but allowed plenty of opportunity for Mikovits to take quite a strong advantage right now.
Yeah, a little side-by-side action. We'll go through a couple of replays of the early incidents, and I said that we got through turn 1 clean. May have overstated that, and I definitely did, as see a little bit too much curb there, a little kiss from behind, and that 44 car almost high-centered on that big curb. And here is another replay. We're going to take a look at Samudo making a big move down the inside, maybe a little bit too big, especially when you see a cloud of smoke ahead of you. You might want to back off the gas a little bit. Here's I say this wrong, Lebivi taking a little ride in the grass there, doing a little lawn mowing in the Energy 69 car. And oh my God, so many jokes on the tip of my tongue right there. I didn't know which one to go with, so I'm just going to let it go. And here is Swanbeck. He's going to loop it. And I told you, part of making fast laps in these cars, keeping that high speed across the apex, not overslowing, but it also means you need to be careful on the throttle or else it will loop. And you saw that happen right now. And back to live action, Mikovits continuing to hold that gap and extend it now up to 1.2 seconds back to Eggert. And Eggert was sitting in the lead briefly and now has Poborji all over him with about a 0.5 second gap behind.
Yeah, he's definitely taking control of the race. I think he was definitely making a statement in qualifying that he would be the fastest here. As we see Eggert and Poborji, they're really fighting for second right now. They want that position. Just have to be smart and not give up too much time with Mikovits. There's a long way to go left in the race. 15 minutes, we're only a quarter of the way there. They may have a chance with a couple mistakes. Here, have the door wide open for him.
My goodness, and that sequence, that 7, 8, 9, those second gear corners, that did kind of look a little bit like a go-kart track, and you saw Poborji poking around, trying to get inside Eggert in that section. And remember, of course, I wisely said initially that there wouldn't be any passing opportunities in that tight stuff, and we saw Poborji sticking his nose in there and seeing if he can make something happen. And it's Mikovits from Eggert, from Poborji up front. In inner one, it's Ganesh from Corwin, from De Silva. Ganesh and Corwin quite close, about a half-second gap between those two. And in inter two, oh my goodness, we have lost Josh Leslie. He's fallen all the way down to P20. Something happened to him. We'll try to figure out what. But right now it's Bujak from Navas, from Igor Gru as the top three in inter two. And the field spreading out a little bit, and up front it is still Mikovits who is still driving away. He's got that gap up to 1.4, and if he keeps adding a tenth every half lap, he's just going to end up driving away. And if we get any drama, it's going to end up being, oh my goodness, and there is Josh Leslie. And as I suspected, a problem there. He slides off into the grass, shedding body panels. Damage off here, though, so he's back underway. But that is not the way that Leslie wanted this race to unfold. He was doing so well hanging on to P1 through the first 5 minutes, and it all fell apart.
It's just time costing. Thankfully damage is off in this series. It allows certainly to maximize the track time you'll get in a 20-minute race, but anytime you're spinning around, just like Dylan here as well, who has the contact, actually collects 3 cars there. But the real killer in these races is the time you're losing compared to the actual damage you're creating to your race car, and it has big effects on where you're going to finish at the end of this race.
Yeah, you're right. The laps are ticking by so quickly, and the laps are so short, and the passing opportunities so few and far between. They end up in the grass once, and you can kiss goodbye to 5 or 10 spots, and very difficult to work your way back up. Or taking a look at Chris Eggert right now, and that is Poborji has been all over Eggert. He finally pushes through, and Eggert giving up another spot there, kind of gave up on defending that one, similarly to when Mikovits passed him. So now up front, it's Mikovits from Poborji from Eggert, and Eggert is going to hang with Poborji, but now you got to wonder what Ganesh is thinking right now. Eggert in his plain sight, and he knows that Eggert is struggling. Does he fancy a crack at the podium?
Yeah, I think if you get up there, you have to at least make a chance for it. There's still so much time left. There's no need to get antsy, no need to over-push anything. As you see, there goes Eggert running wide, very wide, losing time to Poborji. So anything's possible. You just don't want to push the door too early. You want to make sure you set them up and know you're going to secure a finishing position.
And it's a cumulative points championship. So in any given battle, if it's not working for you, if you're not feeling the rhythm, it's like the Scott Dixon strategy. Sometimes it's just about your best, worst finish. So if you're getting tangled or getting bumped around, and if you spin, you lose 10 spots, you're better off giving a guy a little bit of room and just losing 1. So there's a lot that goes into it in an accumulative effect over the course of the season. Tight circuits like this, I get teased a lot for being too safe, but staying alive is advantageous.
Yeah, we have definitely seen that over the course of the season. Consistency and safe driving has moved some people up in the standings for sure. And taking a look here. Oh, okay. Sorry. Taking a look at Suresh Kumar here, our hard charger. And we were looking at Velasco to make something happen. And he's gone up 9 positions, but doesn't hold a candle to Suresh Kumar, who has moved up 13 positions. So Gridding in P28 has moved all the way up to P15. And like we were saying, that may be a situation. Obviously, he's fast. He's putting down laps, but he's also keeping it clean. And you're seeing a lot of incidents here. So, that could be an example of, being cautious, being consistent, keeping it clean, and getting to the end. And oh my goodness, as you see these cars banging over those big curbs, and those curbs are probably more Australian supercar curbs and not Formula Car curbs, and you see Vase there taking a little 360. Interesting to see these F4 cars banging over those things. I have a feeling that they're not fond of bouncing down the track, but it's a risk reward. And some people are choosing to roll the dice. And there's Mikovits. Mikovits has gone off and fallen all the way to P3. Holy cow, just as he was driving away, maybe getting a little bit of a jinx on him for me. I'm not exactly sure, but it is now Poborji from Eggert for Mikovits. And let's take a look. Just over rotating there on that entry. A lot of trail braking, like I said, on this course, and it's a delicate dance. A little bit too much rotation there, and Mikovits has fallen out of it. And I shouldn't say fallen out of it. Oh, there's a beautiful in-car there. He tries to catch it, but momentum just too much there as the thing starts rotating. Now it's Poborji from Eggert for Mikovits, and they are all within 1 second. There's your podium, all in one shot, 1, 2, 3. So when it looked like Mikovits was going to drive away, they decided to make it a little more exciting for us, and that they have done. And they have kind of trained it and pulled away from Ganesh there, who is P1 and Inner 1, about a 2-second gap from Mikovits back to Ganesh.
Yeah, it just, we kind of talked about it early in the race. They were giving up a little bit of time, but they were hanging around close enough without a mistake. All it took was Mikovits with a mistake, and they're right back in it. And we just watched it live last lap. So going back into the corner, I'm sure Mikovits is thinking twice about how he'll handle it this time. But he did a good job of minimizing how much he lost out of that spin. So he's right there with them. I think we're looking at a fantastic battle for the top 3 at the end of this race.
Poborji on 0X, running clean.
My goodness. And somebody getting camera shy there. Oh my gosh. And I was just about to talk about this part of the field. We had a bunch of cars trained up, packed in with about a half-second gap between all of them. This whole group right here, we're fighting, and oh my goodness, nothing breaks up a fight like an incident like that. And oh, maybe a little dubious re-entry there, but yeah, we had about 10 cars, all with about a half-second gap in between them, trained up pretty good, had a pretty good fight going. And that little go-kart section, 7, 8, and 9, so difficult there, and you saw it go terribly wrong. And it's sometimes fun to run in heavy traffic, but that's when it's not fun. One mistake takes out a number of cars and busts up that whole situation that we had going.
Yeah, and he saw Shirsh Kumar, he just lost it all on his own, and I was about to make a comment that maybe Velasco had overtaken him on the hard charger award, but I think in that incident Velasco was maybe collected with it, so they're both down, and that took out quite a few cars. Yeah,
and Velasco may have parked it. I'm showing him a lap down right now, sitting in P34, so not a good outing for him, and he may have wished that he sat this one out along with Jason and Stephen Case. Chris Wang missing today as well, so a few people taking a pass on this track, and you can see why. It's very tough stuff here, and we're just over the halfway point. Actually, only about 8 minutes left. These 20-minute sprints go by so quickly, but up front it is Poborji from Eggert from Mikovits, and Mikovits has dropped off a little bit there. Poborji and Eggert running pretty closely together. Mikovits kind of falling back and has a big gap behind him, so he may just want to finish this one out and sit in P3. He's got that pretty well locked up. And Inner 1, it's De Silva from Corwin from Ganesh, and they are pretty widely gapped out as well. Then in Inner 2, Bujak from Gru from Van Wagner, and that Gru to Van Wagner fight is about the closest podium situation that we have going right now, as we take a look at Bujak, who's driving with a couple of Inner 1s behind him. Yeah, and there is Gru and Van Wagner. You see that interval about 0.6. So Poborji and Eggert, 1 and 2 are about 0.6 apart, and these two cars running in 2 and 3 in their class about 0.6 apart. And like I said, we had a pretty tight train going there, and you saw it implode in that tough 7, 8, and 9 section.
Well, damage is off. Incidents are on. At 20 incidents, you are disqualified. Dropping wheels is 1, a spin is 2, contact is 4. So when there's fisticuffs like this, a couple of contacts, a couple of drop wheels can put you in trouble, and that's starting to accumulate. Yeah,
that is definitely the case, and I'm not going to name any names here, but I don't get incidents. I do get off tracks here on my timing tower, and they are piling up for some of these drivers. And taking a look at a replay here. Here is Dylan, and my goodness, that track must be greasy. It's only showing track temp of about 75 degrees, so not roasting hot by any means, but it looks pretty greasy out there. It's had a lot of self spins. There's another one, and they all kind of seem to be under the same circumstances. These drivers are doing their best to trail brake across those apexes, and a lot of them over rotating there, under braking, it looks like. So tough stuff here at Winton, and like I said, there's always some grumbling no matter what the series when this track shows up, and you could be seeing why. It looks like it could be frustrating. You work and fight, then loop it, and 10 positions down. And you can ask Swanback and Velasco about that. Between them, they have lost 30 positions due to incidents. Ouch.
Drive differently in a pack over the arrow. Sometimes guys get out there and practice alone and get comfortable with that. When you get in a pack and you're that third or fourth car, you don't have the same downforce. So if the muscle memory kicks in and you give it just a little bit too much throttle in that instance, it's easy to fall.
And here we go. We are good catch, Mike. Mike is alerting us that we are getting lap traffic already. So with about 4 minutes left in this one, you see Poborji there working his way through some back markers. So traffic potentially playing a role here. Poborji has got almost a second behind him to Eggert, but now you know what, that traffic has allowed Mikovits to catch back up. Mikovits had been about a second and a half off of Eggert. Now he's right back with that group, and the number 4, the fourth place car is catching as well. So we may end up with some fighting up front that wasn't anticipated. Same thing happened last week, and kind of adds an interesting twist to these races where it looks like somebody's going to drive away. Then all of a sudden people have to navigate traffic up front, which can be quite difficult in these tight confines of Winton.
Yeah, you see Mikovits, he got caught up out of the final corner there with some lap traffic. He's actually run some better lap times here the last 2 or 3 laps. I wonder with that spin, if he didn't heat off the tires too much, that he was having to find a way to get the temps cooled back down so that he could get back to turning the laps that he was before. As we're actually looking for a fight for the league, Eggert has made a run, peaks to the outside. Lap traffic, I think, is going to get in the way for the moment. You see they settle back down to get through there safely.
Yeah, and somebody getting a blue flag there, and finally gets out of Eggert's way there. And yeah, you're right. Mikovits has lit the fuse here. He's currently the fast lap holder. He's put down a 1:17.013, which is about a tenth and a touch faster than the next fastest guy, which is Poborji. So Mikovits lighting the wick and trying to make something happen here at the end. He's only got a couple laps left, but my goodness, he is all over Eggert and certainly within striking distance as we ride along with him. This is Mikovits looking forward to Eggert and Poborji. That is 1, 2, and 3. That is your podium, and that is how close we are down the stretch.
Lap times look like as they come across the line. I think Mikovits might have been the fastest that lap, the way it looked like. And he was almost 8 tenths faster, so he has definitely turned up the bucket going down through 1 and 2 there. I think the pressure's on. He knows he has 2 cars to pass, and there's not much time left to get it done.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that Eggert sees Mikovits coming, and we're going to see Eggert piling the pressure on Poborji. He would rather be in P1 and let Poborji deal with the hard-charging Mikovits, who has definitely lit the fuse. He's saved his tires for the end of this one. And here we go. Here's Eggert. Takes a peek inside. There's contact. Somehow, Poborji doesn't turn, but leaves the door open for Mikovits. Mikovits may be sneaking by the inside here. Very close there, side by side, and still side by side. It looks like Mikovits is going to have the inside line to this next corner and may move up into P2 here, and he does. Look at that shuffling up front. Only 5 tenths of a second separating P1, P2, and P3 as the timer ticks down. Only 2 minutes left, and this one getting hot at the end.
Yeah, I think Mikovits, I think he wants it all right now. I think look for him to make a move going into turn 1 out of this final corner. He is on fire, and he is moving fast right now. There he is. He's got the draft.
And look at that draft go to work, and see Poborji just moves over a little bit to cover that inside entry into turn 1. And we thought we might see a little peak right there. Not sure if we've seen a successful pass right there. High risk, high reward. Mikovits way off in the dirt this time. And that is going to allow, I think, that may have messed up his exit right there, as Poborji is able to extend that gap to 0.4 now. Mikovits was all over him and went a little bit wide there, unable to get the power down, but look at him close it up, and look how quickly he closed it up, almost able to reach out and touch Dinesh's car right there. Got that gap down to about 0.3. And while all this is going on, of course, Eckert is right there as well, licking his lips. If this situation in front of him comes to blows, he could be in the catbird seat if there's a problem ahead of him. So Eckert might be in the best position right now as this one winds down.
Yeah, I think they've all three shown that they're not afraid to touch wheels if they have to. And Poborji is definitely hanging on right now. I think he knows he's going to get run down, as we're probably looking at the white flag lap here as they're coming across the start finish line. And there it is. The flagman does have the white flag out as they're going to go into one lap to go. We'll see if Mikowitz can actually make a move coming down the backstretch this time. This will be his last opportunity. He can make it work.
Yeah, Poborji taking the white flag here, and Mikovits looks like he's lost a little bit of steam here. Look, he might have lit the wick, gone through his tires, and not been able to get done what he wanted. And now look at Eggert polishing Mikovitz's bumper. He's all over him, and now Mikovits may be more concerned about hanging on to P2 than he was about getting past Poborji. And again, all three of these cars about 0.8 of a second separating them, and deja vu all over again. Kenan, it is traffic, and will traffic play a role in this tight battle? Look at there, here comes your podium. There's back markers ahead. Oh my goodness, hang on, folks.
Yeah, they may catch him going in the final corner. I'd like to think that they won't, and they'll get through the rest of this race clean. But Poborji with a rough exit there. Mikowitz is going to look to the outside. This is his final chance to set him up. Almost contact going through the final corners. They're nose to tail 1 through 3 as they lead on to the final stretch. It looks like Poborji is going to get him as they finish the race. Poborji, Mikowitz, and Eggert, 1, 2, 3, all covered with a blanket. That was an incredible race we just watched there.
Great battle. What's not to love about that? Holy cow.
Wow. Classic F4 racing here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. 1/10 between each of these cars. We're going to take a look at Bujak here, your Inter 2 winner, as he is going to go across the line. We missed De Silva going through to take, or I was talking over, and I'm sure that Mike showed it to you, but De Silva is going to take the checker for the Inter 1 class. And as some of the mid-pack here trying to get through that difficult go-kart section for the last time, and you see a little cloud of smoke, maybe a little bit of a smooch there on the back of that F4 car. And that is what are we looking at there? It looks like must be Dylan, Duvall, and Clark trying to sort out who is going to cross in P21. And that's another great thing, Jason, about this group is you can be racing all the way at the front, and there's a big inside move and a big slamming of the door, and oh my goodness, things getting a little bit rude here in that heated battle for P21. But what I was going to say was there's just great racing up and down this grid, whether they're racing for P1, P10, or P21, as we saw there. These guys are always scrapping and never giving up, and that's one of the things that makes these races so entertaining.
Yeah, when you get up into 30 car fields, you don't, at the end of the day, you're racing your friends. It's the same fun if you're 21st or first. You want to beat that guy in front of you. And over the course of a season, you sort of find your level, and there's sort of races within races. Like I joke about Corwin being my sparring partner at Fuji. Thule and I had a great battle. So, yeah, I mean, if you're 15th, there's nothing to lose. You might as well try to make a move on that guy in front of you, and he doesn't want to let you by. So, fun to be had up and down the ranks.
All right, and we have your final results for you. Poborji hangs tough during some incredible fighting up front to take Alien class victory and overall. So it's Poborji from Mikovits, from Eggert, 1, 2, and 3. Your first Inter 1 car, De Silva, will be P4 overall, followed by Corwin. I'm going to say this wrong again. I'm just going to call him Ope this time through. Adrian Lopez will be round out your podium in Inter 1, followed by Justin Snyder. Dan Bujak there is the winner in Inter 2, followed by Ganesh and Cook. Then Van Wagner and Shilja are completing your podium in Inter 2. And in P14, it is Gru, followed by Leslie Brashear, Conway, and Rafael Cardenas in P18. Daniel Lebevi there in P19 had a rough one. A couple of our faster drivers had a really tough race here today, actually. We got Navas, Duvall, Dylan, Clark, Samudio, Glasser, Hagen, Day, and Meyer. That will get you to P28. Pasada, Hyde, Shreshmakar, and Vase will get you to P32. And you see on our lap counter there, some of these guys finished the race in the pits. And Alex Velasco, notably, sitting there in P33. I guess Mirchik and Kocher. Jason, DFL'd that one. Sorry about that, Jason. I know that you had high hopes for a good result here, but
I can't talk and drive at the same time, so this time I picked talking.
All right, let me hop over and see who we have got. And I don't actually see... Oh, no, there we go. And Jason, I think you had some ideas for some of these interviews. Do you want to talk to some of these guys?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull in Adrian Lopez.
Oh, hey, guys.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Adrian, welcome to the booth. And looks like you pulled off a P3 here in Inter 1. So how'd that race go for you?
Better than I expected. I don't like this track. I haven't had that much practice with it. But I got to understand it pretty quickly, and I think that kind of helped me get there.
Nice. And we've got Jason here in the booth with us, which you probably knew, and we'll let him ask you a couple of questions as well.
Yeah, Adrian, how are you, my friend? Adrian comes to us from Michigan, logged in from home, so it's really cool with iRacing to have 10 in-house and 20 or so that logged in from home. And Adrian and I love battling each other, so we're sorry we missed it this time. What was a favorite highlight of the race for you, my friend?
Well, it had to be at least towards the beginning, kind of trying to get around Justin. Justin and I raced pretty close to each other historically, so that's always fun. And then lap 14, getting around Athul was a planned out gamble a few turns back, but almost narrowly didn't make it once I actually tried to go for it, and it just worked out. Just caught a little bit of grip at the end and didn't spin out, so I was pretty happy about that one.
Yeah, we've really come to appreciate in league racing when you race the same guys week in and week out. You know, you get into an official and it's 25 guys or whatever. You don't know their names. You don't know where they are. You don't know what their tendencies are. But with league racing, when you can really trust somebody and know they're coming and know they're going to race you clean. Like I said, I love racing Adrian and Athul. So coming up on the schedule, my friend, you got lucky this time. I wasn't out there to go wheel to wheel with you, but you got a favorite circuit coming up here in the next couple of weeks?
Ooh, I don't know. My favorite circuits have already passed, and the only good one I did was Suzuka, and everything else I just bombed. So I'm kind of just going in at it as they prepare a couple days in advance and just hope for the best.
All right, my friend. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Say hello to the family.
Well, shout out to Athul and Justin for getting really, really close to me and not coming into contact. That's a lot of trust, and when it works out, it's really, really fun. And to the girl at home watching with the baby as well.
All right, great. That was Adrian Lopez, P3 in your Inter 1, and good work there. We'll bring in the Inter 1 winner, Tyrone De Silva. And Tyrone, I'm hoping that you unmute yourself. That may have not been a good choice. Tyrone De Silva, you with us? And that is going to be a no. Let's go to Jason. I'm going to bring in Ganesh for you.
Hey, Athul, and we got you in the booth here. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, how's it going? Good.
We're just having a laugh about league racing and trust in friends, and Adrian was super complimentary about running close quarters. What was the highlight for the race for you out there?
Yeah, I think I had it under control. Like I was running fourth, and then I made a mistake. I think that pushed me down to like seventh. But I was behind like the guys in the inter alien anyway. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna do consistent laps and get the win. But then I think there was some back marker traffic, and then that caused OP to crash. And then I was sort of involved in that. That lost me a bit of time. And then there was a couple other instances where I lost time just trying to pass the back markers. But then in the end, Adrian made like a really good move on that. I think it was the penultimate turn, and yeah, that was. I pretty much checked out after that, just trying to get it home.
Yeah, close quarters on this circuit out there. Short, it's always going to be crowded. You have a favorite track coming on the schedule? We got Phillip Island, Motegi, Oran, Fuji again, Mount Panorama in the rain. Bathurst will be drama. What comes to mind there for you?
Definitely Bathurst. Looking forward to that one the most. I think that's probably the best track on this service. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one.
Thule likes the risky stuff. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Say hi to the family, my friend.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember last time at Bathurst. I remember me and Adrian had a good battle for a couple of laps, and yeah, hopefully something like that again this time around.
Very good. Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Say hi to the family.
Oh yeah, I think one of my good friends is thinking of joining, and he's watching this right now. So there was a lot of action in this race. So if this doesn't convince him to join.
Very good, my friend. Cheers. Great to have you in the community. I've always appreciate going to Wheel with you, and we'll look forward to doing it again next week.
Likewise. Thanks, Jason.
All right, that was Athul Ganesh, and we're going to take another swing, maybe foolishly, at Tyrone De Silva, who P4 overall Inter 1 winner, and it looks like his mic is on. Are you with us, Tyrone?
Yeah, yeah, just sorting out some audio issues.
Oh, excellent. Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, and pretty good drive today. The aliens drove away from you, so it didn't really have a crack at a podium, but really a dominant performance in Inter 1. You finished with the entire Inter 1 class and a few aliens behind you. So the race was a little bit messy. So how important was it for you to get this result to keep the car clean?
Yeah, I think actually it felt better to only get the 1x this race. My goal was like to have a clean race and finish mostly. So the fact that it's also a good result is just a plus. Just because the first half of the season, or I guess first 3-4 races, kind of rough. So yeah, it's a good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, only a 1X, and yeah, absolutely dominating performance. So yeah, excellent job. And looking at the upcoming schedule, is there anything standing out for you, or you're just focused on getting through Winton today?
Yeah, just focused on Winton. Yeah, I have to go take a look at the schedule. I just kind of take the weeks like one race at a time, and just focus on just the one circuit that's upcoming. But there's a few I think that I have not raced before, so that those should be interesting.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a hint. We're going to stay on the Australian continent for next Wednesday. It is a narrow, hilly, and kind of crazy old school track, and it should provide some pretty good racing. So get practiced up, and good luck again or congratulations again on the fantastic result today. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to?
And just Jason again for putting these on, and then Josh and Ope in the kind of battling in Inter 1. This is good racing. So Yep, excellent. Well, thanks for coming by for the interview, and yeah, it was good racing, really entertaining, and I hope you enjoy watching the broadcast later. Yeah, thanks. All right. Well, folks, that was another fantastic Sim Racers Group F4 race. And as I said, we're going to be at Phillip Island next week. If you're not familiar with that track, it is an absolute
hoot. And we will take a quick look at what is coming up this weekend. Our Weekend Warrior Series. Formula Vs will be at VIR North as a short course at Virginia International Raceway. The Formula Ford Series will be at Knock Hill, and Spec Racer Fords at Okayama. And as we move on through the weekend, actually the Cross Series League Racing, the SLR Racing, will be off Sunday. It will be back on the 27th of April. They'll be at Crandon International Raceway with the Pro 3 trucks. And on Tuesday, that Mustang Says American Muscle Series, final race of the season at Laguna Seca. And until you've heard those V8s pounding up the hill toward the corkscrew, you have not lived. You'll want to tune in for that one. And on Wednesday, Sim Racers Group will be back here, our last stop in our South Pacific, Asian Pacific tour, in Australia at the Phillip Island course. It is an absolutely fantastic course. And if you enjoyed today, imagine today with a lot of hills. It is going to be an absolute hoot. So, oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for joining us, folks. I am J.R. Gregory on behalf of myself, my partner, Kenan Miller, our producer, Mike Braun, and everyone here at SMB. And special thanks to our guest commentator today, Jason Kotcher, Sounded Super Pro. Well done. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. And hang on, folks. The weekend is coming.